Hello, it is, what day is it? It is Friday, February 6th. I'm in Moline. I hope that's the Spotlight Theater. It's very colorful. Looks like a church, but I think I'm in the right spot. To see 9 to 5. I didn't print out my ticket for this one, so hopefully it's all good on the phone. But I'm going to head in, find my seat, and hopefully enjoy the show. Okay, 9 to 5 at the Spotlight Theater in Moline, Illinois. Couple things. First, about the show. I did not realize how recent this show was. Because the movie is from before I was born, and the song is from before I was born. So I assume most shows that I've heard of are from before I was born. So I assume this was an old show. But apparently, it premiered in 2008 and didn't premiere on Broadway until 2009. I've seen this show before when I was in college. My college did it. That would have been 2011 or 2012. I had no idea how new it was. So that was kind of interesting. Obviously, the movie's older, but the stage show is pretty recent, all things considered. Saw it in college. The girl I was dating at the time was in the show. I don't remember much about it. I remember vaguely enjoying it. And I've heard the song since then, so it's stayed in my mind, but I couldn't, tell you the plot details, couldn't tell you the names of any of the characters. But I remember generally liking it, and I've never seen the movie. So I was trying to remember, because the girl that I was dating at the time was a theater major, so she was in quite a few shows and working on quite a few shows. I was like, I don't even remember who she played in this show. And I thought that her role was Candy Striper, which is vaguely something kind of like a nurse or an orderly. I don't even know if those are a thing anymore, because I'd never heard of it outside of this show. And in Archer, he mentions one once. But I couldn't remember for sure if that was from this show. I didn't remember anything about a hospital scene. But as I watched the show, there is a scene in a hospital, or at least a doctor's office or something, and there is a candy striper with the stripes. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I remember that part correctly. So, not a whole lot else to say about the show. It's a fun show. Not particularly family friendly, but enjoyable. The theater, the venue, kind of surprised me a little bit. I don't exactly know why, but for some reason I was thinking that the Spotlight Theater was like, I don't want to say this in a way that's going to come across wrong, but I thought it was like a fancy schmancy theater building. And it's not. It seems to be an old church. In the program, they say it's a historical building. Seems like it was a church. And it's now being used as a theater, which is, cool. But when I pulled up outside, I was like, oh, that's a cool looking church. It had cool lights pointed up at it. And then I noticed in my GPS that, the theater was right there. And I pulled in. I'm like, oh, is this there? And there was a sign there. Like, this is the theater? And I knew that theater had improv performances also. But walking in, there's a sign that says the theater is upstairs and the improv is downstairs. And they were happening at the same time. So I'm like, that's kind of cool. I mean, I guess if you wanted to go... I mean, they have improv multiple times a month. So I don't think it would be that difficult to get to both if you wanted to get to both. But I wasn't expecting that. Wasn't expecting two different venues within this one building. But I guess it's a testament to the website design and their social media presence and the shows that they're putting on, that they're advertising, that I just thought, I don't want to say real deal theater because that makes it sound like community theater isn't real deal theater, and that's not what I'm trying to say, but I thought it was a more professional level. And not that I was disappointed when it was community theater. I have nothing against community theater. I'm trying to see shows of all different levels. So I'm going to see professional levels, and I'm going to see community levels, and I'm going to see volunteer stuff, and I'm going to see school stuff, and I don't have a problem with it. It's a different set of expectations that you have, and it just took me a while to adjust. And the show starts with the big song that everybody knows, at least the beginning of that song. And it's just one of those things that they didn't have the mics going right away, and the balance is a little bit off. So, not. My cat is making noise in a box. Not the most rock solid start. This was opening night, also. So there are, a few little hiccups here and there, but like, I don't want to detract away. The cast did great, and the singing, once they got going into it, man, those people were hitting notes that I didn't think they could hit at the start of the show. But just and again, because I don't remember the show and I've never seen the movie, and then I don't know the characters. Even looking in the program, I'm like, I don't know who these characters are. The song, at least in this show, I don't know if there's differences, but it starts with the ensemble characters. So it's not the strongest singers or the strongest actors that start that song. It's the ensemble. But I didn't know that at first. And so you got not the strongest singers, and you got some mic issues, and so I'm just like, oh man, this is going to be different than I expected. And again, I feel like I'm drawing a lot of attention to this, and it's just because it messed with my expectations during the night. But it was a really good show. And the main actors did very, very well. There's always going to be a couple sound hiccups. At one point, the levels were too loud, and the guy that played the boss, his mic was clipping. So that wasn't great to listen to, but I'm fine with all that stuff. I don't think that ruins a show or anything like that. And like I said, once I settled into what it was and not what I had been expecting, it was very enjoyable. The only real problem that I had, it wasn't a big problem, but there was a lady behind me, back and to my left. It's just one of those obnoxious people that laughs at everything. Even things that aren't jokes, things that are setups to jokes, and yeah, you can laugh in a comedy show, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I laughed, other people laughed, but this lady was laughing at everything, and cheering, like something happened. Woo! Woo! And I'm just like, calm down, man. You're right in my ear. She wasn't right in my ear, but she sounded like she was right in my ear. So that was really the only thing I was disappointed by. And it wasn't, it didn't ruin the show. It wasn't constant, but it was enough. And it's just chillax. Take a chillaxative and chillax. And I'm not trying to sound like a grumpy old man. I had a person singing behind me at the Aladdin show that annoyed me, and I think this is only the second other time that someone else has bothered me. But it's just have some self-awareness, But that's really the only negative I have to say. I was really impressed with the level of talent in the show after my adjustment setting. The answers I thought were really good. I was trying to figure out, back when I was in college, there was a show that I saw that the girl I was dating at the time was either in or involved with. And there was some kind of big dance number that, in my memory, featured a woman in the, as the main character on the stage, the main performer, and then an ensemble of dancers around her. In my head, it was men. And they did a dance number that wasn't a lot of arm movement. It was a lot of footwork. And I had said something afterwards to the girl I was dating that it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy choreography, but it was simple, right? Now, there's a difference between something being easy and something being simple. Something being simple means that there's not a lot to it, but it can be difficult to execute. Something being easy, there could be a lot of steps to it, but it's not hard to, right? And so I was commenting on, I was saying it as a compliment, right? That they took simple footwork and made it an enjoyable show out of it. And she got mad at me and pushed back and was like, that wasn't simple. Like, that was harder than you think. And I'm like, not really though. And she's like, well, maybe they made it look easy, but like, go look at it again. So I went back again, and she was right. I just they did it so well and so smoothly that I thought it was simple stuff, but when I went and really focused on it, it's like, wow, that's a lot more complicated than I had thought. And I don't know if that was this show or not, but there was a dance number in this show that I saw yesterday that reminded me of that. A lot of footwork, the one main female character on the stage, but the ensemble in this version was played by females, and there were males in the ensemble, but the females in this, I want to say in this scene, they all had like vests on and like more masculine attire. So I'm wondering if it's just a difference of cast, if maybe the college show had a lot more guys and so they could use it, because like I think it was One of the Boys, I think is the name of the piece. I'm gonna try to open this without my cat attacking it. One of the Boys is the name of one of the pieces. I think that's the one it was. And so it's like, I could see it going either way. If it was a cast of men, but she's the leader, then she's like one of the boys. But if it's a bunch of females, like the rest of the show, then it's like, we could all be one of the boys. So like, maybe that was just the difference between the two shows. Maybe it was a totally different show, and I'm conflating two things in my mind. But it reminded me of that. And if nothing else, that means that this group, once again, did a very good job of making something that was pretty complicated look very simple. I thought the ensemble dancers did really well. They're, they accentuate, again, I don't like big, long dance numbers, and that's not what these were. They were, singing, or there was acting going on during the dances. It wasn't a big, long dance break. But they always felt like they added to the atmosphere and supported it rather than being distracting or too overwhelming. So if ever I have positive things to say about the dancing, I think that's a sign of a good show. So I think I've rambled on enough. I'm going back to Moline today in a few hours, but I'll save that for the next video. So that's going to do it for me for this one. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.